Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday to all in the Delaware Valley. This is the Anthony Gargano Show presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. TrueMark.com/PHLY for the credit union difference. Well, we've reached the point of gallows humor when it comes to your basketball team. There will not be a topic much going forward. But today, I need to just get this all off my chest, and then we can turn to combine. We have Baldy coming on and Todd Zolecki coming on. So football and baseball around the corner. But I need to address this, okay? So the Bulls last night that do not have Michael Jordan, do not have Scottie Pippen or Dennis Rodman or Bill Cartwright or Steve Kerr or Craig Hodges, all right? You know who they have? They have Dalen Terry. They have Matas Buzelis, Kevin Hill, and that Josh Giddey, who was the OKC, the kind of cast off, who had 25, 16 boards, 6 assists, looking like Scottie Pippen. This freaking Bulls team scored 75 points in the first half. They almost scored 150. I was praying for 150. I wanted to see the Bulls embarrass that hideous effort, that team that is just absolutely sucks. I wanted 150. That scrap Bulls team, slop Bulls team, puts up 142. Listen, I know they stink. I know they're not going anywhere. I get it, all right? But just the effort for those people that actually went to the game, all right? God bless you that you did. Just the effort alone. That freaking Nurse Wretched, all right? As my man Eddie Wright calls him. He is beyond horrible, all right? There's nothing to do with, it's not his fault, all right? The roster sucks. All right? The EL just blew this every which way. It's just abysmal, all right? But where's the pride to at least go out and play defense, all right? And this is my biggest point. Vic Fangio is on the Eagles after they win the Super Bowl for giving up 22 points in the second half. Then he goes and says to his players, no, you got to watch this tape of the second half. And that's unacceptable. That's what Vic Fangio does after winning the Super Bowl. Nick Nurse, I think about Paul George and these players that are just thieves. But you know who's a big thief? And a big, giant fugazi of the first? Freaking Nick Nurse. All right? Nick Nurse. A 100% thief. The Sixers gave up 75 last night to the Bulls in the first half. They gave up 63 Saturday night against that trash Brooklyn team. After the break, they gave up 72 to Boston in the first half with their full complement of players playing on the last week and Saturday. Now, 75, 63, 72 in the first half. That is effort. That is a coach that doesn't give a damn, that allows his players just to go out and not play any freaking defense. Have some respect for the game and for the craft. Have a little respect to come out and give you some effort. Again, you're not playing OKC. You're not playing Denver. Even Boston, who is incredibly a great team. I get it. And giving up 72. But first of all, you zone them. All right? Like this dude who walks around like he's Red Auerbach. It is on my nerves, almost more than the players, because he just goes out there and shows no pride. No pride. They're just awful. They're an embarrassment in the first. They need to blow it up. They need to fire everybody. Go! Get out! You gotta go. Like, that is so unacceptable to put forth after All-Star break that you put those kinds of defensive effort. I'm not saying win-loss. I've long ago buried the season. I wanted to tank 2 months ago and keep the pick. But just the effort. Ew. They're just gross. They smell. They're so bad. And again, that Bulls team walks in there. You want to talk about prideless. Oh, my God. Oh, it's just one of the worst putrid Philadelphia teams. We've had some bad ones in our lifetime. All right, some wretched, flea-ridden teams. But this one might be at the top of the list. And I'm sorry, Tyrese, I love you. You're the only one who gets a pass. The only one that bless your heart. The effort. I never see anything just nobody care. The Bulls, again, this isn't Jordan Pippen, all right? Dalen Terry, I mean, Josh Giddey, all right? They shot 50% from the field, 50.6% from the field, en route to 142. Again, has nothing to do with the results or the outcome, the season, none of that. It's just an effort because you're getting paid obscene amounts of money. Obscene. Generational wealth. And you have so little pride that you don't even go out and play, try on defense. Not even try. And the coach just sits there with that face. Oh, God. I thought I detested Gabe Kapler and some of the other stiffs that have come through here. This guy, wow. For a guy who I thought was a good basketball mind, wow. Talk about a just train wreck travesty. Gross. That franchise should be ashamed of, as much as they have been a train wreck of a franchise since 1983. After all the cavalcade of mistakes that they have made. I mean, you could fill a tractor trailer with their mistakes. Actually, buildings with their mistakes. That started right after that last title. One after another, after another, after another iteration. Wasting players like Allen Iverson and Barkley and now Embiid. It's just a gross. The franchise is so beyond pathetic. I'm so down. Of all those bad years, horrible seasons, Sean Bradley, right? All these pathetic players, Matt Harpring, all these thieves, Big Dog, Weber, all these one after another of just absolute grossness. This one is number one. This one is tops of the stank that is this pathetic franchise that I love so dearly. Why? I need help. In fact, this summer, I will get the Sixer tattoo removed from my back on air. All right? I will get I'll get something over it, or I'll get it removed, whatever I got to do. Because the pain that I'll get from that won't compared to the pain I get from watching that slop all the time. Good morning, Violations, Greg.
What's up, brother? Man, I am here for all this. The tattoo remover will cover up. This gets better and better and better. You just have to, all I can think about is the great songwriter, Glenn Frey. And we do it so well, but it's so nice to know the tank is on. It's on the season. We do it well here. This puts a little fun into the season. Before it was just like, bleh, bleh. Now let's go. Let's get blown out every night. Let's get a top 4 pick going. Let's go.
All of a sudden,
I am here.
All of a sudden, Tankathon is relevant again.
Yeah, and we got an owner with a tank face. He's got a great tank face. We're ready to go. We tank. This franchise under this leadership group tanks really well. So I am here for it.
Honestly, I want them to leave.
Josh Harris?
I want them to move the franchise.
You want to start fresh with a brand new franchise.
That I just want them to leave. All right? Just go. I have wasted enough of my life. And as you get older, you go, wow, man, there's a finite amount of time that you have to live. All right?
Yeah, you want to start from ground zero?
Yes. Yes. I would change the name. You know me, when it comes to sports, I'm a traditionalist. I love the colors. I love the franchises, the logos. I don't want to change anything. Here, I want them gone. All right? Send them back to Syracuse. All right? And then bring in a franchise. There's no such thing as the Sixers anymore. There's no more. I don't want to see a 76. I don't want to see a snake. I don't want to see anything revolutionary. I'm done. I'm completely done. Because the travesty that I saw over the last 3 games of just no effort, and there's no consequences.
This will make you feel better. Derrick Bodner, the great Derrick Bodner here, he tweeted out, since the Levine trade, the Bulls have the 5th worst offense in the league. 5th worst offense in the league since the trade. They put up 142.
They were that close to 150. I mean, you think about giving up 150. You think about this concept of giving up 150 points. Josh Giddey looked like Pippen. 16 rebounds from a guard. I know he's 6'8", but still, he's their lead guard. What? I mean, you want to talk about not caring.
Herter right? averages like 8 points a game.
Well, listen, Herter is this lifelong cast-off that can only shoot threes. Right? Like, that's what he is.
Yeah.
And
he's not a real athletic dude, so he's getting open. He's lazy. No. He's a slow dude. He's wide open. Like, no effort. It's not hard to lose him.
It's horrible. It's so bad. Like, I want an apology from Nick Nurse. All right? I still hate him, but I want an apology from this dude.
I say, hey, Anthony, you get your money's worth. You can get in the door for $2. Like, what do you think's happening here? You're not paying big money to get in here.
Again, I'm not expecting, it's not about wins and losses.
You expect some life.
It's not about that. It's just about pride.
And I got to say, there was like 2 or 3 plays. Ricky Council, he looks bad.
Oh, my God, bad.
I mean, that's a guy I expect. You know he doesn't have a ton of talent. You're on the floor. It's just all energy at that point, man.
No, listen, the roster's a joke. I mean, listen, Daryl Morey swung big.
Yeah, yes, he did.
And he missed.
Yeah.
And the breeze from that swing is a gust of stank wind that has, March comes in like a lion of stank wind.
Yep.
That's what came out of his swing and miss. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible in every which way.
This is amazing. As bad as it's been, I'm looking. The Sixers are still 3rd all time in franchise wins. They're behind the Celtics, the Lakers, and then the Sixers.
Dude, I don't want to.
That is crazy.
I don't care. This franchise has just taken so much out of me over the years. Well, they've taken so much out of me over the years that I got nothing left.
Can I help you out and just read like some encouraging words from Paul George after the game last night? Paul says, "We've shown no signs of a team that will compete, and we just don't have the habits of a champion or that of a playoff contending team would have. So to be honest, it's a little far-fetched to have a shot at a playing game, and all we can do is work hard and try to keep going for one another, but we've got no signs of a forget championship, but a playoff contending team here." He's basically just told you he's mailing it in. Done.
Yeah, see, he's a hate to face. Look at that face. He's a hate to face. He's been here 5 minutes.
What would Kobe do on this team?
Oh,
He'd be strangling people.
You know what's funny?
What would Ron Artest be doing? Like, just no life on this team.
You know, I'm in such a bad way with basketball that how people talk to their deceased relatives.
Yeah.
And you have conversations. And, like I talk to my grandmother a lot. Like I'll talk to her and, I talk to Kobe.
Oh, yeah.
I do. I every once in a while, you watching this? I know you got something better to do, but you watching this stuff? You see this stuff? Like God rest his soul. And he was taken too early. I love Kobe. I loved him in every which way. But the thing I loved most about him was his will.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
His competitive spirit.
Yes.
Like the competitive spirit that in an all-star game, he was where nobody guards anybody and it's all big farce. He's like, F the farce. I'm guarding you, LeBron. And everybody looking like, why you guard? Because he's competitive. Yeah. He was a competitive guy. He had a spirit about him. He was a winner. And I look at this group of mutts. They're just pathetic. And I look at the offense, right? You know what's great is that the one guy with ability, like tremendous ability, is Maxey.
Yeah.
And I purposely have watched. Now, going forward, I'm not going to watch hardly at all. But
yeah, you say this.
Right. There's a reason why. A, it's, before the tournament and before baseball. B, I to make a point. Like, because I want to be able to see these moments, right, of just bad shots. Like Kelly Oubre. I hate Kelly Oubre, okay? I hate his game. He's such a bad basketball player. Like, he's one that this league has numbers. Like, they're just all about fake, hollow numbers, right? It's all stats. It's why people go, oh, analytics and stats. And I go, it's not about that. I hate stats because you can make stats sing and dance. You can make numbers. They're as hollow as a chocolate Easter bunny. That's what they are. That's what Kelly Oubre's numbers are. Hollow as a chocolate Easter bunny, right? He's a horrible basketball player. Horrible. He doesn't do the right things on the floor. The guy who should be getting the ball, the guy who should be creating, is half the time watching. While slop guys take shots.
He's too
like touch the ball. Like he should be creating. I'm not saying he should be creating, doing. I hate this team. I freaking hate them.
He's too nice.
Who, Tyrese?
Yeah, that's his thing. He's too nice. He's not going to scream. And I mean, we heard he said the one thing to be, but he's not a guy who's going to be like in people's faces, demanding the ball and stuff.
They have created, while the Eagles have created a winning culture, the ultimate winning culture, the Sixers have created the ultimate losing culture.
Ultimate. There's no leaders. There's no leadership from a front office down.
It's just a losing culture.
Yep.
And you can say what you want about the Flyers and the rebuild, but what they're and Torts. Well, what they're trying to do is create a culture, a winning culture, and it starts now. Their tank rebuild process, whatever the frig you want to call it, already looks different than the Sixers. They're creating accountability. Now, is it easier to do in hockey? Yeah, I get it. But they're creating accountability and a culture. That's what they're doing. And that's why I believe at some point they're going to be successful. You got to get talent. Talent wins. But talent with the right culture wins.
I mean, this is a risk that people said back when the tank happened. Like, you're going to create a culture of
You
losing.
can still and have a culture. Look at the Flyers.
Yeah.
All right? Like, you could still do that. Look at Oklahoma City. You could still accrue assets and arc to win.
Yeah, I don't know if those teams tanked as long. The tank here was a long tank. It was like 4 seasons of like purposefully tanking. That's a long way. And it seems like that mentality is just ingrained throughout this entire building
point guard. I mean, it's a
franchise.
whole big thing.
Yeah, I know. but
I mean, listen.
They had a leader here, Jimmy.
But they're
back in the day.
beyond. They were beyond. You know what?
He was fine back in then.
Get the hell out of here. He's another one. Like, I don't want to hear that he was some great savior either.
He's not a savior, but he at least wanted to play.
Yeah, I guess.
He's a guy who doesn't like
until he wakes up on the wrong side of the pillow and says, I want out.
Yeah.
Like he did in Chicago, like he did in Minnesota, like he did in Philly, like he did in Miami.
Fair.
They were beyond here's the thing. They were beyond the tank. Certain things were out of their control. Ben Simmons becoming a kook, all right, or whatever the hell his issues were. All right, I get it. But then they just make mistake after mistake after mistake. And now I watch this and I just look at Nick Nurse and I just go, 75 in the first half last night, 63 in the first half against Brooklyn, 72 in the first half against Boston. That's a team that is not ready to play, not prepared to play, and has no interest in playing.
When asked last night if the team gave up, he's like, I don't know if they started.
Yeah, now everybody's done stand-up, gallows humor. Should be apologizing.
He said his team lacked energy, life, and vibe.
Yeah, well, how about this? You're the freaking coach, dude. You're the coach. Leave. Just get him out.
Oh,
get him out now.
He wants out. He wants out more than you want him out.
Yeah,
and he hates it here.
Yeah, and he should leave and never coach basketball again. Go do whatever it is you do, Nick. Nurse wretched. I hate them all. I hate them all. All right. All right, I promise.
Can we just enjoy the tank now?
No, I'm not. I'm not. Right now, I can't enjoy anything other than the Super Bowl and looking ahead to and Michkov and looking ahead to the Phillies. And we will do that. But first, I got a great guy's going to join us coming up. Derrick Brooks, a basketball agent, Philadelphia guy.
Good.
Used to work for the Sixers.
Oh, boy.
Good thing he got out. That's how he started. He worked with Pat Croce back in the day. And then he built a whole business.
Man, the days of Pat would not put up with this.
No, that's why he got out.
Yep.
He was like, I can't deal with this nonsense. Let's talk about Rothman. That's right. Back out of whack, shoulder, elbow, hands cramping, whatever you got.
My knee's a little stiff today.
Your knee's a little stiff today?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
You got issues?
Might be the meniscus.
Rothman Orthopedics. They got you at Rothman Orthopedics. Practicing specialized care has been their passion for over 50 years. 50. All right? Their mission, high quality, compassionate, affordable care rooted in research. Research leads to new treatments and better outcomes. Each Rothman doctor laser focused on their specialty. Hip, knee, spine, you name it. They have a team for each body part in your backyard. You can cross over that defense. You can drain those jumpers, unlike certain people. You can root for our teams like no other fans in the country. The Rothman Orthopedics, they specialized in orthopedics and you for over 50 years. Visit RothmanOrtho.com/PHLY to learn more and make an appointment today. Let's talk some True Marks, shall we?
Yeah, let's do some True Marks. So if you got some bills racking up from the holidays, from Valentine's Day, from a Super Bowl run, maybe you had to put down a deposit on some Philly season tickets. So TrueMark can help you out. Think about this. What if you could pay all that balance off faster and with zero interest until 2026? It's still like 10 months. Well, it's true because TrueMark Financial is offering zero interest on balance transfers. So all your payments can go toward reducing your balance, not just covering interest. So here's the play. Transfer your existing balance from another institution to a TrueMark Financial Visa credit card and take advantage of this amazing offer. But you got to hurry. You got until February 28th, 2025, which is 3 days away. So whether you're interested in earning rewards, cash back, or simply prefer a low rate for everyday purchases, with TrueMark Financial, you can choose a credit card that best fits your financial needs. Visit TrueMark.com/compare for full details on how to apply. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by NCUA, equal opportunity lender. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to approval, and the 3% balance transfer applies. Standard rates apply after the promotional rate ends.
All right. I was just texting Spags is in Indy.
Oh, nice. The little combine.
For the combine. So he's going to join us.
Cool.
We just figured out what day would work this week, next week, to kind of go through the Super Bowl. Because I'm dying to find out from his eyes, how great the Eagles are. Like, I mean, honestly.
And he's okay. He can divulge, like, what his thought process was going in.
We did a whole breakdown. Every year we do a Super Bowl breakdown. Now, I don't, he's always fourth, right?
Okay, cool.
I want to learn about your team and how dominant you want to know about the participants who are behind it. So
that'd be great.
Spags will join us coming up. Now, joining us, a terrific guy, great basketball guy. He's an agent, and he's passionate, and he's Philadelphian. All right? He got his start with the Sixers. Welcome Derrick Brooks to the program. D!
Yeah.
What do you say, D. Brooks?
Can you hear me okay?
I got you.
Nice Phillies hat.
Okay.
Now,
yeah,
Derrick was Ryan Howard's agent, too.
Oh, nice. Ka-ching.
Yes, how you guys doing today?
All right, a little muffled. What's wrong with his audio? Why is he muffled? Okay.
Is that on my?
Yeah, you're a little muffled, baby.
You want me to try a different audio?
Yeah, try different audio because you sound like you're in a and I want to hear what you have to say about the state of basketball in Philadelphia.
Yes, sir. Hold on one second.
I want to make sure we're everywhere. I can't take it, man. I can't take it. I can't take it. I can't take it.
It's like a perfect storm of that marginal loss with Giddy going off.
Like, how could you say we never started? Like, again, I just want a little pride.
Well, a little light, a little anger, a little something.
This is every game since the break. You got no pride.
Right.
You're playing bad teams and you got no pride.
Everyone's fine getting the doors blown off at home.
It's like, okay, like at home, really?
Yeah.
And these people are going to get, like, I know that you could get tickets now $2 off of the secondary markets. Doesn't matter. Hello, D.
What's up, buddy?
That's better. Much better. Thank you.
There we go. There we go.
Tell us. Last night, did I see Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Rodman?
Oh no, you saw Derek White and and a host of other Bulls players that could or could not be on a G League team at some point.
I saw Dalen Terry. He avoid Josh Giddey looking like Pippen.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek, they put up 142 last night.
Yeah. And no overtime. It's regular.
So listen, you make your business in this game. You have grown up in this game. Your first job was with the Sixers.
Correct.
You got to talk to me about what we're seeing here.
I mean, I think overall, since I was there, it's just been a tremendous change and dynamic of culture, right? Like the culture is different. Therefore, the players that are the result of the culture are going to be different, right? I heard you guys talking a little bit about the tanking years, and the tanking, on one hand, it does something for you because you can stack cash, capital, and assets so you can bring in good draft picks. But on the other side, it sets a horrible culture, right, for the team. And last night, just watching the game, I wanted to pack all those guys up, put them on a bus, drive them to Warminster, PA, and take them to my son's 11U AAU team, the Hustle in Warminster. Shout out to Wayne.
The Hustle's a
Bring
great
them back
name.
to the fundamentals.
The Hustle. Hey, man, I want to play you guys. We're the Saints.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to Wayne and we'll and Coach Reese and we'll set something up.
I got to tell you, I look at it and the mistake after mistake after mistake in the build and in this whole process. And then it's every move now over the last 2 summers is just out of desperation.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it starts and it finishes with the ownership group, right? Like the ownership and the management. The biggest issue is that you got guys who aren't basketball guys. They're great people. They're friends of mine, and but the issue is they aren't basketball guys, right? So when you have basketball guys come in and tell you their opinion, it's based on what they see now and what they see in the future. If you have non-basketball guys, it's all about what's happening right now, what's popular, and what's popping. So you're going to go after big names or names that you thought were big the last 2 years, and it seems like for Philadelphia, we get the guys when they're done. You know, we have the we have the graveyard of guys who used to be.
That's a great way to put it. The graveyard of guys who used to be. Yeah, that's pretty on point. What are they saying league wide about this mess here?
It's kind of like a reap what you sow, right? Like they put themselves in a hole by doing what they did, and you promise not only the city but the world the process, and the process has to have an end. And for all intents and purposes, they didn't promise a great end, right? We don't have a great ending to the process. The process is going to end. It's ending now. And if you think about it, in 4 years, Joel is due $69 million in 4 years. He can't play tomorrow, right? So how in 4 years you expect to pay this guy, and who's going to take that contract from you, right? So you've built
69 in 4 years.
Hard to take away.
Oh my God! Hey, look, George isn't even on the clock. Basically, he got $200 million tied up into that guy.
Oh yeah, but he got paid $200 million to do what y'all doing right now, podcast. That's a hell of a check for podcast.
And here's the thing: I don't know what you do. I mean, other than the immediate is you got to protect your asset, which is the pick. You got to protect that. But like, it's such a bad look. And here's the thing: I was for the process, and I would vote for it again. But they made a million mistakes, and they still got out of it, right? At some point, they were still a contender, Derrick. Like, they grew into being a contender. I mean, obviously, the big guy's flawed, and I get it. And in today's game, he's a difficult guy to build around. You got to get the right pieces. They got lucky with Maxey. And then every other move was like this move of desperation, to try. That's the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is they were right there with Boston.
Yeah. I would say number one, the first thing we got to do is we got to protect the fan base, right? Because you got to continuously, what they're doing is they're fibbing to the fan base, right? That Joel and the whole organization knew that he wasn't right after that fall in Golden State. And yet he chose to play in the Olympics to get a gold medal, right? And then the whole narrative was that he was ramping up. And after you come off an Olympic run, to ramp up and take that long, everyone knew what was happening. So the fib to the fan base was the first flaw. And the other day I saw the president, Darryl, on TV during a press conference, and I'm going to quote him here. He said, "I just focused on championships, and I know you have to squint a little bit, but we feel like this group can still do that." And I looked at I rewound it, and I said, "Squint. You got to close your eyes. You got to dream, because squinting ain't going to get it done."
You got to drop acid. That's the only way you can sing the title.
You got to be on something else to see them get into the championship this year.
No, I mean, that will go down as one of the infamous quotes in all of Philadelphia sports history. So I'll ask you, because you were part of a rebuild. Like, your first job was with Pat Croce.
Yeah.
Take us back to that day, and they almost feel similarly when Pat first took over, and they were a mess, and The only difference is they were in PCOM on City Line Avenue and not that glorious practice facility in Camden.
Yeah, where we had to pay $5 to park every day. So that was just a different era, and it was a different human being. Like Pat had such enthusiasm and passion inside of him that you couldn't help but get a little bit of it. Whether you were the popcorn lady or the parking guy, if he crossed your path, you felt his energy and you started to exude that as well. And I think it it pushed on to the players, right? Like his energy. When I first got there, I was passing out T-shirts during the start of the game at the 11th Street Atrium and the Broad Street Atrium as fans would come in. And we didn't have many fans. It was just the start of a new building and Iverson there. And then there's this guy in a suit who is high-fiving everyone and smiling and have a great day. This is going to be the most awesome game you've ever seen. And I said, this guy's out of control. And I didn't know who he was. And then finally, found out who he was, and we became really good. He kind of took me under his wing and took me around. But it was a different enthusiasm than you get from the president today. And that speaks volume to the players. I think the players were brought up in a culture. You have guys like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid were brought up in a culture where they were told to lose, and they saw that losing was a part of it. And that's the equivalent to raising your kid and telling them you can do whatever you want. And then at age 15, say your bedtime is 7:00. Well, at 15, they're looking you in the eye and they're going to say, I do what I want. Right. So now Joel's paid, Ben got paid, all of these guys got paid, and you have no leverage to get them to do what the team needs to be done rather than the individual.
Well, it's funny because, what you're describing is basically the league, right? You're describing, the other aspect of it is it's playing out in horrible fashion in Philadelphia. But the league where the franchise, the organizations have little power. Like I heard somebody say yesterday well, why wouldn't the Sixers demand that Embiid have surgery or Embiid go to have rehab and not go to the Olympics? And it's like, truth of the matter is, they have no say in that. He's got his own people, his own doctors, his own team, right? The franchise has no say in that. Yeah, they pay him, but they have no say, and that's a league-wide thing.
Yeah, and we keep a sharp magnifying glass on the Sixers because this is hometown and this is what we kind of live and die on. And coming off the high of the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, we expect this team to at least compete, right? And that's going to be the hard part, is watching them figure out how do they become competitive. And I hear a lot of people say, well, at this point, they should just tank so that they can get their protected pick, and let's shut down Paul George and let's shut down Embiid. And it's sad for me to say this, but I'm going to say it. If they want to tank, they don't need to shut down Embiid and Paul George. They should play them because these younger guys are outplaying them, right? You want to tank, let those guys play, and you'll get the protected pick.
Look, you're a basketball guy. They gave up 75 points in the first half last night. They gave up 63 to Brooklyn, who can't score 63 in an empty gym. They gave up 72 in the first half against Boston after the All-Star break. And again, that screams effort and a team that has no interest ready to play. What's that say about Nick Nurse?
It says one or two things. Either Nick Nurse is the best actor on the planet in terms of looking and acting as if he's trying to win these games because he's been told not to, or he's just simply at his last straw of trying to figure out a way to get these guys to be on the page he is to execute, right? So what we forget is that the team is moving the goalposts and we're moving right along with them, right? Like in the beginning, the expectation was to be top in the league, not just the East, but top in the league. And on paper, everything looked great. Got the great names. We got all the guys of yesteryear playing together. We got a mix of veterans and young guys. We did not know what McCain could do yet, but that was a great surprise. But now we're at the point where we are begging the team to beat the Nets and the Bulls, right? They moved the goalposts. We moved right along with them as a fan base to say, please beat the Nets, please beat the Bulls. And we forget that the Nets and the Bulls don't have nearly the pay structure of their players that we do, right? So even if you beat the Nets and the Bulls, we still got a bigger problem that's down the road that we got guys.
I mean, listen, the wins and losses, they're irrelevant. I've already put to bed this season, but to me, it's now you're in fraud territory. Like you're perpetrating a fraud. Like you don't even try to play defense. Like ultimately, you're right. It's good to protect the pick, so it's good to lose, and it's good that you just have no pride. But like at some point, you got to look into it and go, you guys are getting paid generational wealth. Yeah. And there's no recourse. Like you just don't care. Like Paul George talking about how we don't have championship DNA is freaking laughable, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because his DNA is all over the murder.
Yeah. Oh, it's a shame because today's players, and it's playing out in Philadelphia, but you're right, it's all league-wide. Today's NBA players, they're missing two things: a healthy balance between the love of the game and fear of losing your spot, right? Like, they're highly skilled. All the players are highly skilled. But like you said, there's no recourse if you don't do what you're told to do, right? It's Philadelphia great Gerald Henderson Sr., right? Everyone can Google this. Gerald Henderson Sr. neck brace. Put that in Google. This man played a regulation game, in a neck brace. And you ask him why, because he had fear of losing his spot and his job. The other day, Paul George went out for a couple games because of his pinky. He went down because of his pinky and stayed out a couple games, not a couple of minutes, a couple of games for his pinky. You can't compare the two. So there's no fear of losing anything because your contract is guaranteed. And then you question the love of the game because of how much money they make financially. Do you really love the game or you love the lifestyle?
Yeah, you're so spot on, man. You're so spot on. Hey, real quick, just to end this, you got a great story. I want you to tell the story. So you're doing Ryan Howard a favor, and you're staying at his house. He's building this beautiful house in everybody remembers it in Florida, and you have the key, you have the passcode, but you don't have the other passcode.
Yeah,
and your name is Derrick Brooks, right? So like it's funny. Andrew Googles you. I go, my buddy D's coming on, blah, blah, blah. So he was trying to get your social stuff. And of course, when you Google Derrick Brooks, Tampa Bay Buccaneers come up, right? Tell the story. It's a great story.
It's like the actor, Michael B. Jordan. He had to put the B in there because there's no way he'd come up. So Ryan's building this like mega mansion in Florida near Clearwater, and it's right on the beach, beautiful place, and he was in season, so they're traveling around. He needed someone to go down and help with the GC, and I said, you know what, I'll do it. I can do what I do from pretty much anywhere. I'll go and do it. I'll stay there. Who wouldn't want to stay on the beach in a mansion for a couple of weeks? So I go down first night. I land at 11. It's about 45 minutes from Tampa airport. I get there and his wife, she gave me the passcode. And I said, perfect. I go in, I punch in the passcode and I hear the alarm go off. It says, main house alarm off. And there's a guest house. And I kept hearing a beep. And so I called her and I said, hey, Crystal, I don't have the other alarm. Is there another alarm? She goes, oh, shoot, there is, but I don't know that code. And I said, well, here we are. We're in trouble. So she said, Ryan might. So I call him, and it's pretty late. And so he wakes up and he says, hey, I said, I don't have the other code. Do you have it? He said, no, I don't have it. Crystal may have it. I said, no, she doesn't have it. That's why I'm calling you. He said, oh, we're in trouble. So then he goes, if you ever seen the movie Taken, he goes, the police are coming and they're gonna take you.
The police are coming. They're going to take you.
And all I'm thinking is, I'm in this house. Nothing has my name on it. I'm, for all intents and purposes, I'm an intruder. And the police show up, and it's a lot of them. And luckily, it's like barricaded with a gate. And I figured the best thing for me to do is put all the lights on in the house, because no burglar in his right mind would put every light on. So I put every light on in the house, and I come to the front door. They're on their megaphones, and they asked me to come out. So I come out, and at that time, it was that hands up, don't shoot thing going on. So I said, I'm down south in Florida. There's no way I'm making it out easy. And I go to the top of the steps, and the guy asked my name, and I said, Derrick Brooks. And all of a sudden, all the tenseness went away. And he goes, man, I know you. You went to school with my brother, Tom. How you doing? And I said, great, man. How's Tommy doing? I had no clue who this guy is. I said, how's Tommy doing? And he said, he's great, man. Oh, and he stood everybody down. He was the captain. And I'm standing on the steps. So from his vantage point, I look 6'6" and about 250. And it finally hit me. He thought I was Derrick Brooks from Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I was okay with it that night.
Tell Tommy I said hello. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Yeah, tell Tommy, Tommy's my man.
That's a great story. Brother, we got to get you on regularly. You're terrific, man. We love you, buddy.
Absolutely. I love you, cuz.
Thanks, pal. There he is. D. Brooks, agent extraordinaire. He's terrific. Great dude.
Yeah, he seems like a fun, good dude.
Yeah, great dude. And he's a great basketball guy. His kids, his son plays AAU. I wonder sometimes, is the AAU game contributing to the lack of hating to lose? Because AAU is about showcase your skills, right? There's a necessary part of that. But like when you're just playing for the sake of showcasing, there's no like wins and losses. The competitive of losing doesn't register. And I wonder if that's a big part of it.
There's definitely a different mindset because with the kids I work with, you could tell the kids who just play AAU ball and then the kids who play other organized ball. And there's definitely a different mindset. It's more of it's a showcase mindset.
Yeah.
It's a look at me mindset.
Which
they don't care if they lose, how many points they put up.
Right. Like, you score 30, but if your team got smacked,
right,
they don't care.
They don't care.
All right. All right. We're going to do that. I want to dive into that at some point. But first, the brain.
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
Top of the morning to you, brain.
Can you squint and see the title? Can you squint and see 9 50-point losses to the Bulls? I mean, I got to tell you, man, it's every time you think it can't get any worse. Last night, that had to be, right? I'm going to ask you a question, Anthony.
Did you bet the money line? Did you take the Bulls money line?
I did. I lost with Indiana, unfortunately, but the Bulls was and I live bet the Bulls. They kept favoring Anthony. The Bulls were up by 19. I laid 5.5. They were up 25. I laid like 12.5. They were up like 30. I'm laying 19.5. I'm like, someone's not watching the game. It's some dumb algorithm that's not realizing this is, you got to squint to come within 40.
It was a good night for the brain. The brain probably
because that was a game that they kept favoring the Sixers by Anthony. Up until the fourth quarter, the Sixers were favored at every time of the game by -10 or more from that point on. From every point in the game, they were favored by double digits. And I'm like, someone's just not understanding. This is
interesting to me. What do you net off of something like that?
Well, I mean, that was a good one. I did that. I did a couple of max bets on that. I think I bet it like 6 times. So that was, I laid, I think as low as 5.5 when they're up by like 17 or something like that. And I think I laid as high as 19.5 or 20.5. I finally stopped when it got to like 40. I didn't lay like 32 or 31. But I was doing it up until they got up by in the
So is
40
that a
points.
five-figure kind of figure?
Yeah. That was a good one. Yes. Yeah, that was a good one.
Oh, man.
But I did lose, full transparency, I did lose a lot on the Pacers, but I made more on the Sixers live betting, obviously. And I had the Bulls with the money line. They keep favoring this team, Anthony. They keep treating the Sixers. I'm not going to say that it's like someone's not truly understanding how dire the situation is. Is this the worst team in the NBA?
Let's hope so.
I mean, listen, this league is so freaking bad.
I can't take it.
I'll be honest with you. Like, it's to the point where I don't even enjoy it anymore. I loved the NBA, love it. I can't, there are times I'll put a game on and I'm like, I can't watch this. This is horrible. It's just a bad brand. The games aren't interesting. It's just like it's few and far between. I watch a little like the Lakers are playing tonight, right? So
yeah, against Dallas.
Right. So I'll watch tonight. It's late night. I want to see Luka go against the Mavericks, right? I'll watch that. But there's so few interesting, especially regular season kind of games.
Couldn't agree. It's funny. I'm going to see my son. I haven't been to a regular season game this year, and you look on a guy who used to go to at least 20 a year, at least. Okay, because he wanted to see Wembyana, so I make plans to go to the Spurs game. So we're going to see the Knicks, of course, and on Friday, and then the Spurs on Saturday. But yeah, it's like, I mean, I guess I like watching Memphis. Maybe they have some good guys, and it'll be fun to watch in person. But on TV, unless you're there, I got to be honest, and just the Sixers have sapped every ounce of
I know.
Just the Sixers, the sport itself, how they collectively said, we don't care about the fans. They incentivize you to lose. It's the only sport that hasn't woken up and said, you know what? The NFL doesn't do it. Major League Baseball doesn't do it. Hockey doesn't do it. But you know what? It's better if you lose, and people who want to spend their hard-earned money, we don't care if we're going to bench all of our players when you go to the game. You take your son or your daughter to the game. We could care less. And I guess, again, I don't know. Again, this is going to kind of be a game of, I'm curious to see if I'm going to be right or they're going to be right. Because I don't know if you can continue. It's like in a bad marriage. If you keep treating your spouse like not well, aren't eventually they going to divorce you? We'll see. Yeah. But I mean, that's how I feel.
No, dude, I get it. It's interesting. Last night, it was funny. There wasn't great college basketball. There was a couple decent ones. I was like, ah.
By the way, congrats, Anthony. You did say my Wolverines. Me and VG. I had I was getting 1.5. Almost got there, but Michigan put out a true rock fight last night.
Dude, they had an open three at the end. They missed it.
I'm watching it.
A brutal game. Michigan kind of stinks.
Brutal.
A horrible game to watch.
There was a horrible game yesterday, but Michigan was the right side yesterday. They were winning virtually the entire way in a close game. So no sour grapes for me on that one. But Anthony, you did say Michigan, and they got it done.
I mean, what's funny? You know what I watched? I have a window usually at night because I work. I do a lot of work, different stuff I'm doing for the show, for certain projects. So there's a window in the evening because when I don't have basketball or after basketball, and then my wife and I usually do a lot of stuff on the weekends together. So during the week, you always have sports on. So last night, I was like, I can't have this Sixers game on anymore. I can't do it. It's background. I'm not sitting there watching it. I'm doing work and it's on, right? So I'm multitasking.
Yeah.
I put on Winnipeg, San Jose.
Winnipeg's been great.
Oh, they're great. I like watching them, and I like Celebrini. I have just completely turned over to hockey.
You know, it's funny, Anthony, for people like me and you, this is where if I was like an Adam Silver, now he doesn't obviously know me, maybe you know him, I don't know, but people like us who I think are true, I'm talking from the beginning we were born, diehard NBA guys, when you're losing people like us, I'd say, all right, okay, listen, wake up call. What can we do to get, people like Anthony and Brad, who are the biggest fans of all fans, if they're getting a little disgusted, what can we do to make this sport the way it was? And I'm with you, Anthony. Again, I'm with you. I usually always agree with you 100% of the time, and I'm with you again. By the way, hockey's just a great it's a fun sport to watch. I love it in person
Listen,
that much more.
I've always been a hockey fan, right? So,
Yeah.
like, and it's funny. I'll watch out of town
Sure.
NHL because I used to always like West Coast hockey because I'm a late night guy, right? A lot of times my wife will be sleeping, and I'm a late night watcher. So I like to watch late, and that brand of hockey was always fun. Why Edmonton's and Calgary and stuff, and Avalanche. So I'd watch a lot of that stuff too.
Sure.
But it's so much. It's just enjoyable. I got to tell you, it's great. I had that game on the background, and I'm like, wow, like it was overtime. It's celebrating's ridiculous.
Hockey's, it's right now. It's everything the NBA isn't. Right, the players care.
Yeah,
they don't treat the fans like you know what. It's just a different mentality. But I got to tell you, it's funny. I think you can argue. I mean, NFL is always king for me, so I'm not going to be disingenuous. But playoff hockey to me, I would say NCAA basketball and playoff hockey are like probably right after the NFL, like neck and neck for me.
NFL, football in general, because I like college, right?
Football.
Then
Same
to me, NHL playoffs, MLB playoffs, because MLB playoffs is awesome, right? So those two playoffs with the tournament is that next tier. And
and then after that, it's.
I used to love the NBA playoffs. That was the time, but now it's who can't. Who's hurt? Who's not around? It's horrible. Anyway, give me what do you got tonight?
I got a couple things.
All right.
I do got a couple things. Franz Wagner, Anthony, in terms of assists, Franz Wagner is averaging 5 assists a game. Again, he's averaging 5 assists a game.
Who's that, the skier?
No, Michigan.
No, Orlando. I'm just teasing.
Michigan, man.
Franz
Any kind of Michigan man, I'm biased towards.
Yeah.
But no, okay. Franz Wagner, 27 and 12 to over 3.5 assists. He's averaging 5. Why are you making it 3.5? I think it's too low. Like Wagner over. Jalen Green. Now, Fred VanVleet expected back tonight. Jalen Green, they made his over under 4.5 assists. He's averaging 3. 33 and 14 under 4.5. Give me under 4.5, especially with VanVleet expected back tonight. This is a great one. Now, he's been better recently, but I think it's just a huge over adjustment. Trey Murphy, New Orleans Pelicans, averaging about 3 assists a game. They made it 5.5. He's 36 and 5 to this under. I think it's too high. And I'm going to give you a game that you may say, God, I just don't have it in me, but I have it in me. This is my favorite team from this point on. I want you to write this one down. This is a team I think is going to make the play-in the East over Chicago, over Philly, over anyone with Atlanta.
Washington.
I like the Toronto Raptors tonight. The Raptors. I think the Raptors actually have a quality team. And I think when I say quality, I think they can win 30 games. Okay, let me preface it. But I think they can play Boston relatively close, getting 11 at home. Boston is obviously arguably the best team in the league, but
arguably
off that big win.
They are.
Yeah, they probably are. I agree. But I do think they can keep it within 11. They actually beat them the last time they played. I think Toronto is a sneaky, decent team. Now, with their players, I don't think they're a bad team at all.
Anything in college?
I looked at college. Anthony did not like the slate. I did a double take, a triple take. I couldn't find anything. Again, the last thing I'm going to do is force something. But I have to ask VG, and then I'm on with them. VG, what's the trash game of the night?
Kalamazoo, Michigan. Western Michigan Broncos getting 5.5 against Ohio. That number is thin.
Look,
should be like
let me tell you something.
7.5, 8.
I'm the trash man. You had that ready to go. Anthony, he had that ready to go. Like there was no
Oh no, he knew it.
I check in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, this was ready. This was hot off the press. This was
Bet
not
Parks.
forced.
Yep.
Dude, listen, I got to put in right now, baby. Kalamazoo, Michigan, Western Michigan.
5.5.
Total respect, my friend. I know we're going to come.
I like Marquette tonight.
Yeah, that started out like 10.5. It's up like 13.
Is it really steamed it?
Let me see right now. I'll bring it up right now. Marquette, and I'll let you guys run in a second. Marquette, I show the line right now. Yeah, 13. Providence is obviously
they're horrible.
Trash.
Marquette rolls.
This is
that big game
spot.
Friday against Nova.
They smoked them by
this
like
is a
28
spot where
earlier
you
in
think
the
it's a
year.
get healthy. This is one of those get healthy spots where you would expect them to like win this game, be covering at halftime, right?
Yeah.
This could be one of these games you see like 45-28 at halftime. Would definitely be on that side. Couldn't quite get there, but Providence is that bad.
Thank you, my brother. Always a pleasure.
Appreciate both you guys.
Brought to us by the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. Download it right now. Yes, always fun. Downtime's fun time with the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. So, you download it to your phone. You got all the stuff gearing up for March Madness because tournament's going to be here. Right? Now's a good time to mess around with some college. Like, the brain did give you a little something here. Like the in-game, like you bet in-game with the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app, and you see the Sixers still a favorite, you have my permission to load up against them. Like, this is the rare time where you're allowed to bet against your team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is it.
They have shown you no respect.
Mm-hmm.
So, by all means, bet against them on the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app, and then play some casino games. Enjoy yourself. Have some fun. Like my man over here. He does the baccarat.
Yeah, banker all day. Banker
he does
all
the
day.
live dealer blackjack, the live dealer roulette, craps.
Pass line.
He does all the slots. It's right there on the app. New customers get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, Maryland, Ohio. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Also, we're brought to you by Golden Nugget Jewelers. That's right. It's where Philly gets engaged. Golden Nugget Jewelers. In fact, I had to call your own at Golden Nugget Jewelers. Baldy, who's coming up, Baldy calls your own at Golden Nugget Jewelers because he had to get a gift for his girl. So right away he goes, I got to go to your, who's your guy?
Yeah.
Cuz, who's your guy?
Who's your guy? I
go, your own, Golden Nugget. All right. Call come up. Boom, boom. He's happy.
Yeah.
Big guy's happy. It's all good. So I had a call because my wife says, listen, Massimo's birthday's coming up.
Oh.
And we want to get him a dog tag.
Mm-hmm.
A really cool, thing. So we call your own. Can you do it? Yeah, absolutely, he said. Absolutely. So, there's nothing he can't do. Birthdays, anniversaries, you name it. Any kind of gift. Mother's Day's around the corner. Golden Nugget Jewelers. Golden Nugget Jewelers. You're going to get engaged. You got to go see your own. He's got you all covered. GoldenNuggetJewelers.com, right in the heart of Jewelers Row, Center City. Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. This portion of the show brought to you by Rite Aid. RiteAid.com for the store and pharmacy nearest you. All right, coming up, what's the plan there, Andrew?
Baldy will be here shortly.
All right.
What do you think about? I'm looking at Bet Parks. Phillies team regular season wins. What do you think it's at?
I'll say it's 89?
91.5.
All
Heavy
right.
juice, minus 120 over 91.5.
Well, they should win 90. Yeah, I mean, again, their pitching staff is that good.
Yeah. The way people talk around here, some people, you think it'd be like 84.5.
Dude, I got a buddy of mine, T. Will.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
T. Will. He's like with the Phillies. And I was like, what do you mean,
Yeah.
I said, they got a great pitching staff. Great. And I hear Nola. All Nola does is just give you competency and pitch a ton of innings for you.
I just heard someone on the radio say Nola might be the 2 on this team. I was like, what are you guys talking about? Nola, he's a top 20 pitcher in baseball.
I don't understand the lack of respect for Nola.
I don't either.
I really don't.
He doesn't have that dominating pitch, I guess. So,
listen, he goes out and he always gets you to the 6th, 7th inning.
Yeah,
He just does. Like
the round 4 innings a little rough.
He might give up a bomb here or there, whatever.
That's the thing. He gives up a lot of bombs.
Yeah, but he in this era of baseball, he's so valuable.
Yes,
He just gets you. He gets you innings. He's really one of the most underrated.
but he's
I
not
think.
just an innings eater. He's
He's
good.
And,
Yeah.
and I mean that. What I mean is he gives you innings and he's good.
Yes.
He's a quality. He's a true number 2.
Yeah.
There's no respect. Their pitching staff is good.
He's got the 12th most wins in the last 5 years in baseball.
I know. I don't understand it. Oh, look at this. Let us go to our man. He's back from his Caribbean tour. Baldy.
Baldy, Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Ay, Baldy, Baldy. Oh, he likes meats and football. Oh, Baldy.
There he is, fresh out of the water, ladies and gentlemen. The one, the only, Baldy.
Morning, Gus. How are you?
We missed you, buddy. Tell us about it.
I missed you too, but honestly, God, I didn't think too much about anything back in Philly or I'm still wearing the hat, but
no, I don't. Believe me. Forget about anything other than I just missed my man. Like, how was it? Give us a little snippet of vacation.
Well, it was perfect. It was a perfect trip. I'm not a big planner. My girlfriend likes to plan. That's not my thing. We actually booked a flight from Miami to St. Martin. I knew St. Martin, but it got overbuilt. It's not my favorite place, but it's nice. It's very nice. Got a hotel there. And then we're like, okay, where do you want to go next? We're like, oh, they got a ferry from St. Martin to St. Bart's. Let's go to St. Bart's. Never been to St. Bart's.
This is Paul George?
The West Indies, the Leeward Islands, cuz, if you're looking at a map, which is the easternmost part of the Caribbean. So Jamaica, Cuba, Puerto Rico, they're all inside the Leeward Islands. You got to know your geography here. So we get to St. Bart's, and we literally booked a place that was available. That was almost nothing available. Turned out to be a perfect place. It was like, if I could just design a small home that I could afford in St. Bart's, this would be it. Indoor, outdoor kitchen, big, huge deck, outdoor kitchen. Like, it was just great. So
and that's the Dutch, right? That's a Dutch.
No, it's French. It's all French.
That's French. Okay.
Yeah. St. Martin is half Dutch, half French.
Gotcha.
But St. Bart's is all French. Everything is written in French. The food is French. But so we get there and we're like, whoa, this place is nice. I like it. Walk right down a steep hill. You got Nikki Beach. You've got Gypsy. You got all these. You got the Eden Rock Hotel. Like, everything's right. One bay is right there. So I go, let me go dive in this bay. Let me check it out. So I go out there. I swim along these rocks. Man, nurse sharks, rays, big turtles, everything. And the water is crystal clear. So we get there, and my girlfriend's got a friend that was staying there. Big money, big parties, the whole thing. So they rented a house. They invited us over for lunch, take us out to dinner. We hit it off really good. The guy's really a good dude. So anyways, we have a good time. We're like, why do we want to go anywhere else? Like, I wanted to go to Martinique, wanted to see some other places. We just stayed there for the next 6 or 7 days. It just had a great time in St. Bart's, man.
That sounds awesome. That sounds absolutely
It's
perfect.
like another world. I can't even imagine what it looks like.
You know who was in St. Bart's? I think it was St. Bart's.
He's in the Caribbean.
Paul George was there.
Who?
Paul George.
So listen to this. Listen to this. You're spot on, cuz. Spot on. So he's there, I guess, during the All-Star break, right? The All-Star break last weekend.
Yeah, with his
so
bum
he's down
pinky.
there. He what?
He missed 3 games because of his pinky.
Okay, so we're in this place called Gypsy. It's right on St. Jean's Bay. We're there the first day. They invited us over, buddies of ours. They invited us for lunch. So I come out of the water, like just dry off, and I sit down at lunch. And that was the buzz. Paul George was just there. He's on the internet. Like, he's not getting treatment. He's like blowing the Sixers off. He's doing all this stuff. And he's there literally bottle service, partying like crazy, like every day and every night. And the French don't really care. They're so used to seeing celebrities. They don't make a big deal about it. But if you're a 6'8" black guy, like, people are going to stare and look and figure out who you are. Pictures. He didn't care. Like, he was just there having a good time. I mean, like, it's the original bottle service island.
So let me ask you a question. He missed 3 games because of his pinky. Show everybody your pinky.
All right. So I'm in training camp with the Cowboys in Thousand Oaks, California. I think it's my 2nd year. And literally, it's 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon, every day, conditioning after each practice. It is the original survival of the fit. It's the original Survivor show. You got 125 rookies, 6 rookies made the team. So I'm out there. I'm basically just battling against Randy White and Don Smerick at left guard every day. So I'm measuring my progress by if I could block Randy White, who's the premier defensive tackle in football. So my hand, I'm grabbing him. My hand gets caught in his jersey, and my finger gets ripped out, right? And it's just dangling. So I'm screaming part because it hurt, but partly because it's just dangling, like it looked like it's going to fall off. So I go to the sidelines, and they're like, it's nothing to pull out. They tape it together like this, and I went right back in. I missed like 2 plays, and I never missed enough. I literally taped it for the next 11 years of my career. Every day, I taped it for walkthroughs. I just taped it because if it gets bumped right now, it dangles again. So I literally taped it for 11 years. So to Paul George, I missed 2 plays. He missed 3 games.
Show Paul.
Yeah.
Wait, move it over. Move it over. Yeah, there you go. No, wait. Back up a little bit. Back up. Yeah, there it is. There it is, Paul. There it is.
There you go,
That's
Paul.
how you do it. All right.
Yeah.
Now,
I missed 2 plays at the most. 2 plays because I know I screamed for a play. Trainer came over, got a little tape, taped it up, right back in.
Didn't Ronnie Lott chop off half his finger?
Yeah, pinky. Same thing. Like he had this like type of finger. He's like, it's no use. And he literally, they cut it right below the knuckle.
Hack it off.
I mean, that's another story. But that's we're talking different eras now, cuz. So I don't like to bash. It's not my thing.
Right.
I don't like to compare too many different eras.
Right.
But it's just a different world.
Baldy, how did the pinky look holding the cups and the bottles? Did it look functional down there?
No, they all noticed it.
No,
Paul
George's pinky.
got like an 18-year-old son who's a big diver. And we went diving every day together. He's really good, the kid. He actually paid for a boat fishing in the Bahamas. He's so good. Lobsters, conch, red snapper. He's so good at selling fish to these markets in the Bahamas. He ended up buying himself a boat. And he's a pretty advanced kid, but like they just thought it was hilarious.
Well, how about Paul George's? Did his pinky look functional? Did he look like he was in pain down there?
No. It looked like the Cristal at $2,500 a bottle was not a problem. The magnums of champagne being drunk
He was holding them okay.
They start day drinking now. They start day drinking at 1:00, and the music starts pumping up like it's a full disco at 2:30. And then you got to do something to get you till 9:30 at night. When that's it, cuz like the party is on, like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I don't care. Every night it's a different spot, and Paul George knew where all the spots were because he ended up there.
Way to go! There he is. Hey, all right. News of the day. The freaking Green Bay Packers petitioned the league to outlaw the Tush Push.
Yes. The irony of the whole thing that Mark Murphy, the president of the team, now that they've been outed, we can say it, is that they stopped it twice in Brazil. They stopped it twice. They actually had a better answer than anybody else. But here's the thing. Like, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I told you what Stoutland told me when I was asking him about it last year, when it was at the height of its popularity. And he said, he answered my question to him with a question. He goes, so how do you explain, Baldy, when Carson was our quarterback and we went 36-38 on quarterback sneaks? Like, stop the sneak, okay? If Saquon's pushing us from a yard off the ball, all right. Like, figure out a way to stop it. Like other teams, I mean, we still don't know if Josh Allen got the yard or didn't get the yard against, Baldy. We don't know. All right. It's a difficult play to officiate. Like, I've asked the officials a lot of different ones about how you officiate it, because when does your momentum stop? And they told me, like, as soon as the ball carrier, quarterback or otherwise, starts going sideways and isn't going straight, the whistle should blow. But I don't know if that's true or not, because Josh Allen was going sideways, and I don't know if anybody blew a whistle. So I understand. Look, the fact is, it was when I studied the play, and I'm going to break down the play again today. I broke down the play in the Super Bowl because I had 1.8 million views on the play. But what I did is I attached physics to the play. So physics is part of it is momentum. Part of it is connecting yourself from the ground to the push, where the ground is, because so many guys leave their feet. As soon as an offensive lineman dives and leaves his feet, their play ends. The push ends. Same thing with guys that jump over the top. Like, that's not going to stop the push. Like, F equals MA, force equals mass times acceleration. It's physics. So they don't understand the physics and how to teach it. So I see guys leave their feet or put their knees on the ground, and they're on the ground. There's no power. Like, the Eagles have coached it. Even watch Lane Johnson at right tackle or Mackay. Like, their feet and knees are their feet are dug into the ground where they can get real push.
Yeah,
so it's a poorly coached play.
Right. And here's the thing. There is such a degree of crybaby that you want to outlaw the play. Like, you lost in the playoffs, you lost in Brazil, right? Like, you didn't lose just because of the tush push, right? Yeah. Like, you can't outlaw I don't see what grounds do you have to outlaw. It's a football play.
Well, why don't you just get Jordan Love to perfect the play in Green Bay?
Right.
Like, just go work on it, study it, perfect it. It's like what, but you can't just, this is what happens with the NFL and why it's so confusing to officiate the game, period. It's impossible to officiate because you get a thing like this in the offseason, it comes up, outlaw the tush push. All right, it goes away. There'll be some other version of it, but they'll come up with some other way to make a yard. But like, the problem with it is the rules of the game. What's a fumble? Well, we've altered what a fumble is so many different times in the off seasons like this. You got to have a football play, 3 steps, all this stuff that's impossible to see in real time.
When did they, off of your point, when did the ground, because it wasn't always, that used to be a fumble, right?
The ground can cause a fumble. It's like if you're in the open field and you trip and fall on your own and the ball comes out, it's a fumble. Right. The ground caused it, but they'll say, the ground can't cause it. Well, of course it can cause a fumble. That's what they go back and review. But we've gotten to this point, we don't know what interference is. We don't know. A.J. Brown puts his hand, on McDuffie, and it's interference, even though Tom Brady doesn't agree with it, Mike Prayer doesn't agree with it. In slow motion, it's a foul. But like, we've gotten to the point where we don't know what any interference is, and it changes these games every Sunday because we come out and we say, well, we've got to fix this play. Remember when they said 3 years ago, they said all interference penalties will be reviewed. Well, this game's went 3-15. We kept reviewing a play, and it didn't help that you slowed it down. I get all these people come back to me on the things that I post, guys, where they screenshot something, and they're like, oh, this is a hold. Well, you didn't see the whole play. You saw a screenshot of somebody around, Jalen Carter's neck. Right. Oh, it's a hold. Well, that's not actually a hold. All right. If it's restricting Jalen from making a play, okay, then you got grounds. But a screenshot of it isn't a hold. Like, I talked to TJ Watt about this in depth 2 years ago because he throws a hook, an arm under. The offensive lineman naturally goes from hands out here to where the hook wraps around his neck. And I go, well, TJ, is that not a hold? He goes, no, not by the rules. And this is the guy that has more sacks than anybody over the last 6 years in the history of the game. He's like, it's not a hold. If they take me to the ground, Baldy, it's a hold. But like, we've gotten to the point, and then this is my point about the tush push. All right, we're going to go have this discussion this offseason. Maybe they cancel, maybe they don't. I don't know. Depends how many teams ratify it. But that's why the game is so confusing now, because we keep changing these rules, making it even more difficult to officiate.
So I guess my question too is, where is it not football? Like, where is it unfair?
Yeah, no, look, I guess what they think is unfair, like what Bill Cowher is saying, is that it's rugby, it's not football. You're pushing the guy from behind. Okay. All right. Right. All right. So you can make that claim, I guess.
Because I guess in college, you're not allowed to actually push the ball carrier forever. That's how it used to be. Right.
Yeah. Well, I thought in the NFL you weren't allowed to do that either.
Yeah.
But we see guys down the field do it all the time.
Yeah.
Like a guy like breaks a tackle. I remember
The whole
one time
offensive line, when an offensive line there's a ball carrier, right? He's at the 7. Like all of a sudden, the whole line comes and pushes him down to the 4. Well,
Right.
what's the difference?
Exactly. So, like, I remember talking to Carson Wentz about quarterback sneaks one time, and I had a play. I was sitting down in the film room with him, and he had a play on a quarterback sneak against Washington. I'll never forget it. And he went for like 20 yards on a quarterback sneak, and he was pissed at himself. He goes, Baldy, they never got my legs. And he goes, I'm going to score on this play. If they don't grab my legs and they're just tackling my upper body and my legs are still free to go and rumble, to your point, if you don't get the legs, strong guys like Jalen, like Carson, some of these guys that are just bulls at quarterback, like, okay, they're going to go a long ways. So to me, football is still about winning one-on-ones at every position, winning a one-on-one battle. I don't care if it's, in a Super Bowl, if it's, I don't know, Pacheco against Zach Bond. Like, who's winning the one-on-one, right? It's about Mekhi Becton against Chris Jones. Who's winning that one-on-one? Well, go beat Cam Jurgens. Don't let them get a head start. Like, they're behind the ball. The defensive line actually can get all the ball. They should have the advantage. No, they don't know the snap count. But if they go on the ball, the offensive line is at least 6 inches behind the ball, maybe a foot. Like, you should have the advantage as a defensive lineman to get the push. Like, why aren't they pushing from behind?
Right.
And going force against, I never see that.
Force against force. Yeah.
Why, like, if I was to stop it, why wouldn't I get Jordan Davis on the Eagles defense?
Right.
And along with all your defense tackles pushing the front line forward.
Right.
And maxing force against force. Like, I don't see anybody doing that.
No, they did. You should be allowed. You're right. You should be allowed to have your linebackers right there.
Forget about the linebackers. Go get your 350-pound backup defensive tackles.
Right.
They're just sitting there and have them push the front push and take advantage of the snap, take advantage of where the offensive line has to line up so they're not offsides, and you push against their push.
And then what happens is, right, which will be making it interesting because I saw the fake tush push. I was telling you, it was a bowl game, and they did the fake tush push and completed it down the field. In fact, I texted Howie. If you remember, the Eagles tried to run that.
Yes.
Yes, they did. It backfired.
Yeah. But, like it actually, to me, it makes the game interesting because if you try to do that and put backup D tackles in, you're going to leave yourself vulnerable off the edge. So
this is where I would counter against Bill Cowher. Okay. And he was saying it's a rugby play, not a football play. Yeah. All right, that's fine, Bill. That's your stance. Well, mine is, let's gear up for the tush push and let's have a variety of different plays off it, to your point. Yeah. If they gear up everybody in the middle, let's throw it on the outside. Hell with the yard. Let's go A.J. Brown, miss a tackle, and go to the house. Let's add strategy to it. And that's what the Eagles are trying to do.
Yeah, and to your point, again, if you're the Packers, well, go do it. Go get Jordan Love is a big dude. Yeah, go ahead. Let him get low and let him go.
So this league, some days, I mean, there's 270 games during the season. Like, some of these games come down to gaining a yard, keeping possession, scoring the touchdown. 4th and 1 at the 1, you don't score, you come away empty-handed, you lose the game. You go, if you gain a yard, the Jets, it happened to the Jets this year. The Jets had 1st and goal at the 1 against Denver, week 4. I'll never forget because I announced the game. They came away with no points. But, why couldn't Aaron Rodgers or put up your Tyron Taylor, put him in there, or put somebody else in and do it? Like, why in the world they should have won the game? And maybe their season changes, but they lose to Denver. They can't gain a yard. I say it all the time. It's just like Burt Reynolds' movie, The Longest Yard. Like, that's literally the theme of the day in so many of these games. So the Eagles don't have that issue. They're over 90% clip the last 3 years doing this play. All right, it's one of the reasons why they won so many games.
It's brilliant, and it's brilliant, right? Like when you think about the concept of a yard, because now you're not four snaps and 10 yards. You're 4th and 8.5 max.
No, but Nick's sitting over there, or Kellen Moore, whatever, last year, and you're going, all right, you're 3rd and 3. Like most teams on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 are throwing the ball. But the Eagles can run it, which is a strategy by itself. All right, we're going to run it. You got your nickel out there. We're going to run it. We only get 2 yards. It's 4th and 1. Well, they've already made the decision. We'll tush push it. Yard to yard and a half. We're going for it. So it's not just a play. It's a strategy of how you're playing the game, which is effective. And so you can't just say, okay, we'll eliminate the play. The Eagles have a whole game plan for that play, leading up to the play. And then I've seen them go for it. You've seen it, Cuz. You've seen it where they're going for it 4th and 1 at their own 35-yard line. Like they have that type of faith in it. They're not punting the ball away.
It just sticks in my crawl too. This the Packers, the home of Vince Lombardi. There's no way he would complain about this.
Like,
no way.
You're right. There's something antithetical.
But the irony to that whole comment, and you're totally right. The irony of the whole comment is the most famous play in all of football is the Ice Bowl game and Bart Starr, quarterback sneaking for the touchdown.
Yeah,
the most famous play in football.
Yes.
And it happened right at Lambeau Field.
Right. Like it's football, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's not rugby, it's football. Oh my God. Hey, speaking of football, this is the greatest thing I've heard in a long time since the Eagles won. Vic Fangio. All right. So Jalix Hunt was on a podcast, and Jalix, who I like, I told you I liked him. Jalix Hunt says Fangio forced us to watch the second half of the Super Bowl, watch the film, and he was saying this is unacceptable to give up 22 points in the second half. How freaking great is Fangio, Baldy?
Well, there's a reason why Vic sits on a ledge and a perch, because he's never satisfied. They did give up, they gave up a touchdown to Xavier Worthy. It's just basic plays that maybe they relaxed, maybe they took the foot off the pedal, whatever. Like nobody in the history of the game. Now, if I was Jalix, I'd say, hey, coach, Kansas City didn't cross the 50-yard line the first 9 times they touched the ball. They didn't pass the 50. All right. If we gave up 22 in the fourth or the second half, our first half was the best half of football anybody's ever played in a Super Bowl.
So here's the beauty, is Jalix says he loved it. That to me is a winning culture. The kid goes, so Jalix goes, yeah, man, Vic's like this cool old Italian guy. And he goes, I got it. I got it. Like to me, that's culture. That's winning culture.
I remember Vic was the defensive coordinator in Chicago. And Chicago's playing the Giants at MetLife Stadium. So my buddy represents Vic at the time. I don't know if he still does. But anyway, and Vic wasn't a big guy to come out on the field before the game, whatever. So my buddy says Vic's going to be out in the game, go. So I'm checking in Chicago. This is the year the Eagles beat Chicago in the playoffs. So I go up and I start talking to Vic, and we're just talking about, I don't know, maybe it was Khalil Mack, or we're talking about some scheme, whatever. So Chicago loses the game to the Giants that day. The next week, Chicago's playing in San Francisco, and I'm doing the game in San Francisco. And I see Vic on the field before the game. So I'm walking towards him. I'm not 50 feet from him, and he sees me, and he goes, hey, dude. Then he called me dude. He goes, hey, Baldy, I ain't talking to you, man. You jinxed me last week. We lost. I had nothing to do with you today. And he was serious. Like, don't even come near me. Like that jinx that I put on him the week before, it was real. Like, that's how they are. Like, they don't give a crap about the media or what I say or anybody else. It's like, you jinxed me last week. Don't come near me this week. I'll never forget that week-to-week turnaround with him.
That's awesome. Yeah, but I know that you're right. They do have that mentality. Like if they're around you and you give them something or talk about that and it works, like you're come on, you know. I know you're spot on. Listen, brother, we can do this all day.
Yes.
So you got
I'm going to the combine though, cuz
right
Thursday we got to get a show in. I'm thinking Friday morning sometime or Friday sometime. We got to figure it out. Just what I see. It's literally the baseball version of the winter meetings. Everybody's there. You know, the whole league, all the beginning of all the discussions for trades, things like that, all sorts taking place there. Like it has. Like I think. You know, we're not going to see Shador throw or Cam Ward throw, which is unfortunate. There's going to be all these, but there is a purpose. There's a lot of purposes to this, combine that I'll be at. So we got to discuss some of these things.
Yeah, let's do that. In fact, I'll text you later because I got some guys that are going to join us too.
Okay,
so
cool.
we can we'll tape some stuff too.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure out your schedule and then we'll sit down with guys. All right?
Okay. Yeah.
Sound good?
Sounds good, cuz.
Baldy! The greatest.
I'm ready. I'm all ball all the time. I got the vacation thing out of me, cuz I'm ready.
Let's go.
Ready to go to work.
Let's go, Baldy. I love it.
All right, buddy.
See you, brother.
It's so nice to have him back.
I know. He's the best.
Yeah.
He is. All right. We'll take care of some business after our next guest. All right? Because he's got a hard out at 10:50, and I got to get him up here because I wanted to talk to him. Yeah. We talked about Nola. Let us go to Clearwater from MLB.com. Let's start baseball, baby.
Love it.
And here he is, the great Todd Zolecki.
What's up, guys?
Yo, Todd.
How are you? You guys doing good?
We're doing great, man.
Good, man.
Baseball.
Good.
Phillies are
baby.
back.
Yes, they are. They are. It's been good down here so far. The weather, I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm never complaining about the weather in Clearwater. But by Clearwater standards, the last few days have been a little on the chilly side. So hopefully the next few days it starts warming up, get the sun back out. But yeah, it's been good.
You got it on your face. I see.
Yeah, I got a little bit of sun on my face. Yeah, I know.
Swinging the clubs.
No, I wish. Just more or less standing out and getting burned watching the players throw live BPs and whatnot the past few days.
The early was always the best time for what we do. Like you get so much quality time with a lot of players and a lot of the kids are up and around, so you're going to see a lot. It's a perfect time. What have you gleaned? All right, before we get into some of the minutia about the lineup and what Schwarber said, who I love, but what have you gleaned so far?
Well, I think the thing I've gleaned so far is that this team, despite not going out and getting, making the big splash like they have the past few offseasons, there is a real belief in there that they're good enough to win the World Series. I personally agree with that. I think, you got to get hot at the right time. Quite often in baseball, the team on paper that is the best does not win, i.e. the 2008 Phillies were not the best team in baseball that year, but they got hot at the right time and they won. 2011 Cardinals knocked out the best team in baseball, the Philadelphia Phillies in the NLDS, won the World Series. So I think there's a real belief in this clubhouse that they can win a World Series. They can have a great regular season. If they play well at the right time, which they think they can win a World Series. Now, they also feel some urgency in that clubhouse. Talking to the players, they understand that, JT, Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, Ranger Suarez are all free agents after the season, so they're not going to be able to keep the band together forever. So they sense some urgency, and for that reason, I think you've heard a lot this spring about guys being willing to move around in the lineup, guys being willing to maybe play a different position from the idea of maybe even JT Realmuto shaking some balls in left field to keep his bat in the lineup, keep him back from behind the plate. Kyle Schwarber's been working out at first base a little bit, just for the possibility that maybe they throw him out there a game or two this season. You've seen Edmundo Sosa out in the outfield this year, working out in center field and left field to see if he could possibly help the bench out by being more versatile. So you're seeing a lot of that type of stuff this season or this spring as they kind of gear up for opening day.
So I look at it, the idea of Turner. To me, Turner is the key to everything when it comes to that lineup. Like, look, whatever happens in the outfield, Dombrowski will tweak at the deadline, right? Like he knows that. But to me, and I think to him, it's about Turner. Because Turner, if he can go back to being the Turner everybody expected and be at the top of the order, it changes the dynamic.
100%. I agree. I mean, take a look at what Trey was doing last season through like mid-June, June, maybe even early July. He was hitting well over 300 at OPS over 900. They were scoring a ton of runs. He was causing a lot of chaos and damage on the bases by just being so fast. And I think he's the igniter for this offense. I don't think there's any question about it. And then when he kind of struggled in the second half, you saw the offense kind of struggle a little bit in the second half, and you saw this team struggle in the second half. And you can't put it all on Trey, obviously. I think the starting pitching in the second half wasn't quite as good with, Walker and Ranger was banged up. But the idea, I think, with this proposed lineup tweak is that you get Trey in the leadoff spot. Maybe he becomes less concerned with pulling the ball or driving the ball or, being a run producer and just being more focused on, dude, just get on base. I just got to try to get on base here because I got Harper and Schwarber and Bohm and these guys hitting behind me. So as a leadoff hitter, just do everything you can to get on base, steal a base or two, cause some problems, distract the pitchers. And I think that's kind of the idea. And Trey said it himself. Hitting leadoff possibly could, make him more selective at the plate. Everybody's talked about the chase rate, right? But he thinks that, I think that could maybe improve my selectivity or make me less apt to go out and chase a pitch outside the zone.
So let's now talk about the rotation and Painter. So I love what the plan is with Painter. I think it's smart. I mean, you slow play him. He's coming off Tommy John. Slow play the kid, and when you can really use him, which is the back half of the season and the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. He's not going to pitch in any Grapefruit League games, and some people have asked me that, like, why can't he go out and pitch in a Grapefruit League game? I think it's because what you said, he's coming off of Tommy John surgery. He hasn't pitched competitively in 2 seasons, and so they want to be really careful with him. But every bullet you save now is another bullet he will have in September, or maybe even on October, in whatever role he's in. I mean, he's going to start when he comes up for sure. He's not going to be like a late inning reliever, but maybe in the postseason, they use him in the bullpen. I don't know that. I'm just speculating there. Right. But the idea with him is bring him along really, really slowly. If everything goes great and those first 5 guys are all pitching really, really well, maybe he doesn't come up until August if he's healthy and throwing the ball well. If there's a need earlier, maybe he comes up in June. But I think they are going to go to a 6-man rotation, or I should say they've talked a lot about going to a 6-man rotation. And I think the idea there is same thing. Jesus Luzardo did not throw much last season. Now you can kind of protect him a little bit. Ranger Suarez, they want to kind of keep an eye on his innings this season. Now you protect him a little bit. I don't think you need to worry about Wheeler and Nola so much, but every once in a while, an extra day here or there could help you be maybe rear back and get a little bit more velocity on your fastball in October. So I think if everything goes the way they hope it goes, Painter is up this summer and he has enough innings available to pitch some meaningful innings in September and October.
So what kind of kid, what kind of kid is Painter? Like, is he, and listen, the one thing that you are concerned about is you don't want to coddle them too much, because the next thing you know, you saw what happened when you coddle prospects, and it could backfire on you. Like, you could be winded because you didn't have your peanut butter sandwich running down the first.
Exactly right. Exactly right. No, I think he is. I think he is very much what everybody says about him, which is he is very, very intelligent for his age. He's very self-aware of everything that he can do. I think he knows what he needs to do. I don't think he's out there as a young prospect going out like, I got to go out there and throw 100 in my next bullpen session. I don't think he's that type of guy. I think he's very confident in his abilities. And so, and that's a great thing. The other day, for instance, Cole Hamels was just in camp. He just left camp, but Andrew threw a bullpen session over at Carpenter Complex, and afterwards he was chatting with Cole, and Cole was showing him his changeup grip, and they were just talking about it. I talked to Cole about him after. He's like, man, this kid's really impressive. He knows what he needs to do. He knows how he needs to get better. He has a very good, again, awareness of his strengths and weaknesses, but he's also very comfortable in his own skin. So he's not, again, trying to impress people. He's very confident if he just does what he needs to do, he'll get up to the big leagues. And I talked with Andrew afterward about, talking with Cole about his changeup. He's like, yeah, I'm just trying to pick his brain. I know he had a great changeup. I threw a changeup. Don't really like the profile of it right now. So I just kind of wanted to see how he held it, how the ball came off his fingers, and just to get an idea as I kind of work through my current one, maybe, what some other options are, maybe how I can tweak it a little bit. So I said, is this something you might bring into a bullpen session at some point? He said, well, not right now. I mean, just a little bit of catch play from, 60 feet, 90 feet or wherever, just to see kind of how the ball moves. And maybe down the road, yeah. But I mean, this is a guy, again, who's really confident in himself. Great person. He's very serious about his craft. Off the field, he can be a little goofy, as a lot of his teammates describe him. Doesn't take himself too seriously off the mound. And I think that's a reason why they're confident that if he does come up this season, that he will fit in and not be overwhelmed by the moment.
You know what I like to do while he's here and while the big club is here? I want Painter to spend as much time with Wheeler as possible. Because I love Wheeler. Wheeler's mentality that's bulldog, and I want my young pitchers around that guy.
Well, he's only about 3 or 4 lockers down from Wheeler this spring. And, a couple springs ago, I think it was, spring of 2023 when he came in.
That's a great nugget. See your eye? That's a baseball writer. That's a great baseball writer, VG. All right?
Of course he is.
3-4 stalls down. See, he knows that.
Yeah, and I mean, usually the young kids, non-roster guys, and he's a non-roster guy, they're on the other side of the clubhouse, the far other side of the clubhouse, right? Like you have Mick Abel on that side, you have Griff McGarry on that side. You have some of the other young prospects on that side. For Aiden Miller, Justin Crawford, they're all on the far side of the clubhouse. The opposite side of the clubhouse is Harper and Turner and those guys. That's been going on forever. Just usually they're lined up based on numbers. But Andrew Painter, who has a high number, I can't remember what his number is. It might be in the 60s. He's, again, 3 or 4 lockers down from Zach Wheeler. So he's next to Strom. He's next to Wheeler. So he chats with all those guys every day. And, he's not shy, I think, in terms of asking questions and kind of soaking up the atmosphere. And just, I think you're right, just being around Zach Wheeler, being, and Aaron Nola's maybe 5 locker stalls away. Just being around those guys, you can kind of just soak in their vibes, their energy, kind of just see kind of what they do over the course of the day. And that stuff is super, super helpful, I think, in just teaching those guys kind of how to act and how to behave and how to go about their business.
We've been talking about JT's bat going into the outfield maybe. Do you think with Garrett signing his split contract, we'll see, is Marchand more of a plan to get his bat into the lineup?
I think right now what you're going to see is going into camp. So first of all, let's start with this. JT in left field, like Rob mentioned that as a possibility, because they want JT when he's been healthy. He had that knee surgery last year mid-season, so he missed a lot of time. But the previous few seasons, it's been like 125 to 135 starts per season. They kind of want to reduce that and try to keep him fresher going into the postseason. I don't know if JT necessarily thinks that he needs that, but that's something they want to do. And so Rob floated the idea to JT that, hey, do you think you could maybe play some left field as a possibility? In other words, maybe we have Marchand start a game and to keep your bat in the lineup because you're a right-handed hitter, and we have a lot of lefties, maybe keep some balance. Do you think you could go out and play some left field? I said, yeah, I think I could. I haven't seen him out there yet. I don't know if that's going to happen. But really what I think the plan is with Marchand and Stubbs is just an old school roster battle. And I think right now you'd probably have to give to Marchand only because he is out of options. And I would think that he would not clear waivers. And if he does not clear waivers, obviously you lose him. And now their catching depth takes a considerable hit. So Stubbs does have an option. And so that's why I think you could see him start the season in AAA. Now, Rob Thompson said the other day, if one guy clearly outplays the other, the option situation is not going to matter. I don't know if I necessarily buy that, only because I've seen front offices over time really value depth to start the season. That's why anytime a guy is out of options, so we're talking about Rafael Marchand, we're talking about Cody Clemens, Buddy Kennedy. Not that they're always all going to be the favorite, but there's a little bit, you have to really kind of consider that as you think about like the opening day roster and how that might work.
All right, let's get back to the pitching for one more thing, because we had this conversation about Nola. He still gets no love.
I know.
Like, he gets
Crazy.
no. Well, like I was arguing with somebody about their pitching staff. I go, their rotation is one of the best in baseball. I love Luzardo pickup. Like, with his arm, you get that kind of stuff, that kind of live arm as a 5. You got Sanchez, Ranger, and 2 anchors in Nola, and this is before the kid comes in.
No, yeah, I think that rotation could be. Everybody talks about the Dodgers, the Mariners have a good rotation, and the Diamondbacks signed Corbin Burns. They're going to have a really good rotation. But I think if everybody is healthy and does what they're supposed to do, I think this one could be the best. Certainly, a lot of the guys in the Dodgers rotation, Sasaki, I don't know how many innings he's going to pitch. Ohtani's coming off of Tommy John surgery. Blake Snell's usually doesn't pitch a ton of innings over the course of a season. So what are you actually going to get out of those guys? I don't know. All I know is that Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola are like top 3 in innings pitched over the last 5 seasons. I think Nola's 1, maybe Wheeler's 3. So they pitch a ton of innings. I think Sanchez has proved pretty durable. And then if Suarez can keep it going for the entire season, I mean, Ranger was a legit Cy Young candidate the first 3 months of the season. He was unbelievable, and then he kind of broke down in the second half. So I think he's super motivated to put together a complete season, in part because he's going to be a free agent after the season. So if he has a big year, he's going to make himself a ton of money. And Luzardo, when he's healthy, he was great. And I think he's definitely an under the radar guy for Phillies fans, just because they haven't seen a ton of him. If they watched the Phillies a couple of years ago, they saw him face the Phillies a couple times, including the postseason. But there's not like he's not a big name in Major League Baseball. It's not like they got Max Scherzer or Justin Verlander. It's Jesus Luzardo. It's like, oh, okay. But I think he is definitely kind of underrated, being undersold as being a big addition to this team and this pitching staff.
All right, last thing, because I know you got a jet. Jordan Romano. All right, that new closer. All right, people don't realize, live arm from Toronto. He's got great big arm. What are you seeing? What are you sensing? How that's going to go?
Well, he's certainly healthy. I think that's been the encouraging thing. He got hurt last year. He had an elbow injury. He got his elbow cleaned up mid-season. Was it mid-season? Yeah, it was mid-season last year with Toronto. So he didn't have good numbers last year, but by all accounts, he's throwing the ball well. And certainly he is a huge piece of this bullpen. They're really counting on him to bounce back. But everybody really seems to like what they have seen so far. And so he is going to kind of try to help fill that role, or he's expected, I should say, to help fill that role of the losses of Jeff Hoffman and Carlos Estevez. They're also, of course, really counting on Ryan Kerkering to step up. That's one of the reasons why they didn't really do much to the bullpen. Cost-wise, payroll-wise, certainly played a big factor, but they think Orion is really ready to take a big step forward this year.
I like it. Great stuff, Todd. Todd. We love you, man. It's great to see
guys.
you. All right?
Yeah, man.
So
Good
we'll
to see you
begin the
guys.
season. So can't wait to just keep, we'll be bugging you throughout spring training.
Happy to do it, man. Good talking. I love it.
And tell people what you're working on so they can follow you.
Yeah. We will, obviously MLB.com. I got a little newsletter that goes out a couple times a week called the Phillies Beat newsletter. You can subscribe to that. And of course, I do the Philly Show podcast with Ruben Amaro Jr. and Jim Salisbury, which is just awesome. Jim's, I know, writing awesome stuff for you guys at PHLY. So it's man, you guys are super lucky to have Jim Salisbury writing stories for you. The guy
don't think
he's a legend. He's a legend.
He is a legend. Don't think we're stopping here, because as soon as we get more traction, Todd Zolecki We'll be doing stuff for PHLY too.
I love it, man. You guys are the
buddy.
best. Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
it,
See
brother.
you. Bye-bye.
There he is, Todd Zolecki. All right, a lot of fun stuff, man. Big
Yeah.
hour. Flew by. We got to take care of some business. Yeah. Parks Casino. Let's talk about Parks Casino and the acts.
No, yeah.
Do you have you got to look up the schedule coming from acts
I got that.
because I know they there's some great stuff, and we tell you about all the great acts that come about, including live. You know, live's coming, right?
I do know live is coming.
We love live.
But wait, do you know that TV Todd represented live?
Oh,
Really?
that would make sense. He's out in that area.
Yes.
Yeah,
Todd,
yeah.
Wow.
well, TV Todd, who's a lawyer, right? Entertainment lawyer, was repped the band live.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I misspoke yesterday. It wasn't Natalie Portman who's not a fan. It is Christina Ricci.
Right.
Of Yellow Jackets, who's not a
Oh,
fan.
yeah. She's in Yellow Jackets.
She
yeah.
is
Right.
not a fan of the
Todd
band
told
live.
me that you had misspoken about
Yes,
that.
yeah.
But he knows all about live.
Yeah.
He seems
Good
like a
band.
live guy. I think he would be a fan of live.
So, Parks Casino, there is a mecca of entertainment when it comes to musical acts, comedians, bands, right? Like we talk
Yeah.
about it, right? Country stars all over.
Next Friday, Scotty McCreery. Just give me 5 more minutes.
There you go, right?
Michael Carbonaro, Saturday, March 8th.
Boom,
He
magic.
was Magician of the Year.
All right.
We got Ron White.
Can't fix stupid.
Yeah. All-American Rejects. I'll tell you my dirty little secret.
Yeah. There you go.
They're Saturday, March 29th. Warrant, April 5th, which is, who was the fan of? She's my cherry
Pie.
Someone brought that. They liked the video. Last week, someone brought up Warrant Cherry Pie. The Isley
Boosh.
bro.
It was Boucher.
Yeah.
It was Brian.
Isley Brothers, Friday,
I love we used to love
April
the Isley Brothers
11th.
back- Yeah.
The little summer breeze makes me
They feel fine.
Is that the Isley Brothers?
I don't think so.
No? I thought
Maybe.
that was.
That's a good song,
I
though.
know a couple other Isley brothers.
What else you know from Isley?
I'll think about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Parks Casino, the number one casino in all of Pennsylvania, and all the award-winning restaurants and MMA and boxing, and they got all the entertainment. ParksCasino.com. All right. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right.
I got some news for the fellas thinning out and receding out there. There's help. Glad Hair Restoration by Morgenstern Medical, established by the late Dr. Paul Glatt, now part of the Morgenstern Medical Center, under the direction of the great renowned plastic surgeon Ken Morgenstern. They were colleagues, and they worked on research projects together, and they worked in the operating room together. So it's all the same peerless approach to care, the same expert team, and the same unmatched Glatt system. Each member of this team brings more than 30 years of industry experience, and hair restoration is all they do. Glad Hair can help during all stages of hair loss with leading-edge treatments for prevention and restoration, including laser light therapy and non-invasive TED treatments. Each patient receives a complimentary one-on-one consultation to pinpoint your best course of treatment, and they got a caring patient advocate that'll work with you from your first phone call to your last follow-up visit, because they know it's an emotional and challenging decision, and they're there to make it as simple and stress-free as possible. Glad Hair isn't just about restoration, it's about innovation. Their breakthrough treatments really do dramatically change lives. Change your hair, change your life. Bald is now optional. If you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, Glad Hair's got the right treatment for you. Regain that confidence. Visit GladHairMCTR.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started.
All right. Man, that was a whirlwind of a program.
Started out on fire and finish it up on fire.
Yeah. You know, I'm anxious to now kind of turn the page from them.
We'll see if you do it.
All right.
I'm in on it now.
You're-
I was ignoring it. Now we're Tank City. I'm in. Yeah, I'm gonna have fun with it now.
See, I can't do that yet. Listen, I've told.
I mean, there also was it 9 in a row.
With Vince, Derek, Kyle, and Devon were having a conversation. But this is before the playoffs, football playoffs. It was December, and I'm like, you could see the writing on the wall. I'm ready to just white flag it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll white flag it. and see what happens. And hopefully I come back with healthy and beat. But this was like in December. Now I just think it's a loss. Everything's a lost cause.
It's lost.
Right? I hate the roster. I hate the way it's put together. Like I hate these players are just awful. Right? And so I was well past the time. But now they're so offensive in the way they approach the game and the way, like, I'm disgusted by it.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. For me, the only hope I got is to get a high draft pick this year. Otherwise, I don't see anything interesting next year. So I got to root for the tank, and I'm all in on the tank. I want the draft pick.
Yeah, well, I agree. I want
because that's the only thing we have to look forward to.
But the point is that I just am now. I just,
well, they're losers.
I just
they got a loser mentality, except for Maxey.
I got to get that tattoo wiped clean,
dude. That would be amazing. That would be one of the greatest moments.
So when do we do it? At the end of the season? When's symbolic to do it?
Yeah, I think the last game of the season.
We'll get somebody in here,
but only if they're protecting their pick. If they, I feel like it should be a celebration.
Even if they don't, you're rebelling against the team. Take it off. Take the tattoo off.
You getting it off, or you getting it covered?
I don't know.
We need a plastic surgeon, I think, kind of to remove it.
Okay,
right? With some laser stuff.
I'll get it covered,
or we get an artist to put something on top of it.
Eagles, replace it with an Eagles tattoo.
Yeah, we got to figure it out.
Fangio head.
You can get the 2 Lombardis right on your back.
Nice Fangio head on your back.
A Fangio head.
Like a fat head. Great. One of those fat heads.
Yeah, I don't know what to do, man. But I promised my next tattoo was going to be the kids, my wife and the kids.
Okay. Oh, yeah, like a whole portrait thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
Yeah. I mean
that's
you gotta do some things for the art of the show.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We'll have to figure that out. Combine's coming up, so we're gonna dive in deep into the combine. Flyers, Pens tonight.
You've been hyping this up for a couple of days.
All right. I'm looking forward to this. All right.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the Penguins played no defense. They struggle. They've been giving up. They've been leaking.
Oh, yeah. You were telling me to look at the team total. Let me see if I can get it on the
See what the Flyers team total is. I like the over Flyers team. What do you got on the Bet Parks?
Let's see.
I think the Flyers will score tonight.
All right. Flyers.
I like them to win. I like them to score some goals. Just the way the Penguins have been playing defense.
Where are the team totals at?
All right.
I don't know where the team totals. What's the over-unders? Only 6.
They're telling you.
Yeah.
They're telling you under, but the way the Penguins have been leaking oil. Ovechkin went off on them. Now you got me looking. Now
total goal. I can't find the team goals.
All right, so if you look,
here we go. Total goals by Flyers over 3 minus 109, under 3 minus 120.
Yeah, I like the over.
All right,
I like the over. So the Penguins gave up 5 to the Rangers. All right, and they gave up 8 to the Capitals.
Wow, 8 spot.
They gave up 8 to the Capitals on Saturday. They gave up 5 to the Rangers, and they gave it up quickly. Like they gave up like 3 goals in the second period. Like they just now before that, the Flyers beat them 3-2 at the beginning part of the month. But I'm looking, they're struggling on the back end. So I think they scored tonight, the Flyers. I think they win and they score.
Call it a 4-1 game and take the under.
No, I don't want to.
Take the under.
I think
you said 6, right? 6 is the.
No, I think the Flyers, like the Flyers team total, you bet, and then you bet the Flyers will win. How about that?
There you go.
How about that?
All right. That's going to do it for us.
Mitchkov to score at plus 265.
I like it. I
throw it out.
Yeah. He's got a lot of jump.
Yeah, he's been playing.
Like I'm looking forward to Flyers. Flyers, Pens, I'm in tonight. All right. Yeah. Everybody, that's going to do it for us. Andrew, great job. Joey, great job. What's the matter?
He just gave you kind of like a weird mopey face. Like,
Nah, he's not mopey. Right. He's all right. He's all right.
Thumbs up.
He's good. Everybody have a great day. We love you. Hang in there. We'll see you tomorrow.
silly like the mayor.